Hello everyone, welcome to another Ismono podcast. First and foremost, I am recording this on the 27th of December, so Merry Christmas to you all. But this episode will go live on the 1st of January, so Happy New Year everyone. So I hope you all had a great New Year's Eve, and I wish you all of the best for this new year 2025. This episode is all about the best items of 2024. I had a couple of few very busy weeks, so I was not able to record a video about the best item of 2024. That is why I will record this podcast episode. If you're listening to this in the video version, don't worry. I honestly don't have the time to kind of edit this podcast with a lot of B-roll, so you're not missing out if you're just listening to the audio version. However, if you're watching on YouTube, there will be chapter markers of all of the items that I will mention in this video. And I kind of want to start out, maybe I go over the categories. I have best tech item, best travel bag, best everyday carry bag, best EDC item, best Slingbag, and then honorable mention item. So these are the categories that I kind of thought about before going into this episode. I actually only thought about the items, but maybe I will kind of stumble upon why I kind of like this. These are just, most of them I know why I think these are the best items, and some of them, or one of them is at least one that is very memorable to me, and therefore I kind of think it is one of the best items in this roundup. All right, so let me just do a chapter marker here for this is the best tech item. For me, this has been the true MVP of this year, which is the Samsung Fold 5. And I know maybe I kind of bore some of you with this item. That is why I put in chapter markers. So feel free to skip ahead if you don't want to listen why I think this is amazing. For me personally, I kind of want to go with a little bit of history of the phones that I had over the years. For those of you who don't know, I am already over 40. So I have been using phones even when they haven't been smartphones. I have been an Android user for a while, but I used an iPhone 6. That was the last iPhone. I have been using a lot of iPhones until iPhone 6, and the reason why I switched from iPhone to Android back then was, one, the battery life, and secondly, I kind of like to have a unique experience with my phone, and that is why I kind of want to go over my history. When we didn't have smartphones, I had a Nokia. Maybe if you know the movie Matrix, you know the one where you kind of push the button and it flips out. I had that one. I had Sony Ericsson phones that slid open, the Motorola Razr that slid open. I had the Nokia phone, which actually was somewhat like a camcorder. You were able to kind of flip it up and then held it in your hand like a camcorder and had a display on the side. And it supposedly had a really good camera. I guess back then it was a good camera. And then came the iPhone. I went to the iPhone and until the iPhone 6, as I just mentioned. And then I moved to the LG G3 or G4, which was a little bit curved, had a leather back panel. And I feel like afterwards I went to Samsung and kind of stuck with Samsung. But yeah, as you are maybe able to kind of recognize, I like to use phones that were giving me a little bit of a different experience when using the phone. Because, for example, when we didn't have smartphones, many used the Nokia phones because they were very reliable. I went to Sony Ericsson route because some of them were really quirky. And then I got a Motorola, which also was really quirky with a slider and stuff like that. And suddenly Nokia had this camcorder phone. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I went back to Nokia, and not Samsung. So suddenly Nokia had this camcorder phone, and then I went back to Nokia. Then the iPhone came out. That was like mind-blowing for everyone. So I bought the iPhone. And then I got bored, and I was kind of looking around, and I saw the LG, which had a leather back and was curved, had a huge 4K display, or no, Ultra HD display, which was, as far as I can remember, unheard of back then. And yeah, then I kind of gotten into Samsung for their reliability, but those were just slab phones for many years. And if you don't know, before the Fold 5, I used the Samsung S21 Plus. So very basic, and for the lack of a better word, utilitarian slab phone. Nothing special. And with my love for quirky phones or unique phones that give me a very unique user experience, and when I bought this folding phone, it's just new to me, and it gives me so much joy to use this. Besides the benefits of a folding phone, just having this phone, using this, is such a joy. It makes so much more fun to use a phone again. When I used the S21 Plus, it was a basic slab phone, and it was cool to use, but it wasn't like special. It wasn't as enjoyable. And then I bought this Fold 5 last year, if I'm remembering correctly, in June or July. And since then, I have been using this phone, and every time I kind of unfold it and use it, it's such a joy. So that's the first reason why I think, for me, this is an MVP. Then it kind of replaced my laptop, a tablet, for work purposes. Whenever I'm at a job, whenever I'm sitting at the dinner table to drink a coffee, or I'm sitting on the couch and I need to quickly work in terms of, I don't know, answering a work email, maybe doing my finances real quick on a spreadsheet or whatever. I can do that on the phone with just kind of opening it up, having a big screen, or at least a bigger screen than the phone. So it is much easier to write an email, to see a spreadsheet. And that is the reason why I I don't use my laptop at all when I'm at work. You need to know, I'm a freelance film editor. So when I'm working my main task, which are editing, I always have a desktop workstation provided to me, or I'm working on this desktop station, which is a Mac Studio. So when I'm going to a client, I usually only need my laptop or my own personal computer to answer emails, maybe watch YouTube, listening to music while I'm editing. And there, I do not need a laptop anymore when I am carrying my Samsung Fold 5. That is why, for me personally, this has been my MVP and my favorite tech item of 2024. Now, you could kind of argue, or I already can hear some of you saying, oh, that is a very expensive phone. And you're totally correct. It is an expensive phone, and this is not for everyone. I would say, if you consider kind of replacing your phone and maybe a tablet, and you are very certain that you are able to work with this. So if you're answering a lot of emails and you have maybe a similar situation like I have, where you work on a work computer anyways, and you just want to ditch your MacBook or maybe your iPad, then this is a very good alternative to those systems. Yes, you will kind of ditch your Apple ecosystem, but there are a lot of ways to replace all of those systems. Once you get into kind of the break-in phase of that and moving away from the Apple ecosystem. I mean, I work on a Mac. Still, I can do all of this. I have all of my email clients, my calendar and stuff. I can move away from the Apple system. The only thing that I'm missing is AirDrop. I rarely use that. I don't use messages. Here in Germany, everyone uses WhatsApp anyway. So it's very easy to move away. And if you consider, oh, I don't need an iPhone and I don't need an iPad, I can just get that, then the costs is a little bit more justifiable. And more importantly, I feel we have gotten to a place where technology has become very good. You do not need the newest and the latest generation of most tech. You don't need the newest camera. You can get the last generation, and the same holds true with phones, in my humble opinion. This is the Fold 5. As soon as this breaks, I will wait for the Fold 7 and then I buy the Fold 6. I don't need the newest generation. The same holds true with the phone that I had before this. We are now at the Samsung S24 and I was using the S21 until last year. So I was skipping 2 or 3 generations when I switched from my old phone. So bottom line, I think you can buy older generations to save a lot of money. And this phone holds up very well for me. I do take care of my equipment. However, I walk with my dog, so my hands are not always as clean and I don't have any dust in this hinge. The display is fine. Everything works as it should. So yeah, I can highly recommend if you consider getting a fold phone or any equipment. You do not need the latest generation, in my humble opinion. You can get the generation before that and you will save a lot of money. So that is my best tech item of 2024, the Samsung Fold 5. So let me just do another chapter marker. The next item in my list of incredible items or best items of 2024 is the best travel bag. And for me, the best travel bag of 2024 is the Bellroy Travel Light 30-liter carry-on backpack. Maybe you have seen the video where I was choosing between the Bellroy Travel Light and the Black Amber Forge for using it as my carry-on backpack for my trip to Thailand to the Muay Thai camp. And I was really surprised about the weight difference between those two bags, which made me decide on the Bellroy Travel Light 30-liter backpack to use as carry-on backpack for the trip to Thailand. And I really was surprised, A, how much lighter it is, B, how well organized it is. Having this clamshell style, this suitcase style opening of the Bellroy Travel Light bag with all of the different compartments and not being too many compartments that it would kind of overwhelm me, made the bag very enjoyable to use during that trip and very easy to pack and unpack because of this suitcase style and the way the compartments are laid out. Moreover, Bellroy has incredible build quality and is very well designed. You could argue that it looks a little bit boring or a little bit bland, but I felt that for a travel backpack, that is actually really important to not stick out too much and not kind of scream, hey, this is an expensive, cool looking bag that you might want to steal. So because it was so easy to pack, unpack, and being very well organized, for example, when you open it up, you have the main compartment side and then the other side that is kind of facing away from your bag. That has 1, 2, 3, 4 compartments that kind of help you to utilize the whole vertical space of the bag and nothing is just kind of sliding down. And it has this top brain section, a quick access pocket that is very easy to access your items when the bag is in the overhead compartment or in the seat or underneath the seat in front of you. So I really like all of the compartments and how I was able to load it and use it. So yeah, Bellroy Light Travel Bag 30 liters, my favorite carry-on backpack of 2024. By the way, I will not only link all of those videos in the info tab above or in the description, but also, yeah, like I always say, I'm sorry that I kind of repeat myself, but if you won't consider getting any of these items, I will link them below. Those are affiliate links. With those, you won't pay more. But if you consider getting one of those items, but you also want to support this channel, you won't pay more by using those affiliate links, but you will support the channel with a small kickback of that sale. And if you do so at this end of the year, thank you very much. All right, another chapter marker for the best everyday carry bag. And this bag surprised me a lot. It was so enjoyable to use, and I honestly didn't think that I would enjoy it that much, which is the Pioneer-Carry Panda Pack. In my video review, I kind of mentioned that it does remind me of the bag that Casey Neistat used in his daily vlogs. And I don't know what it really was, but on one hand, it kind of got me excited to do the video to kind of test the bag and kind of use it in this vlog style way. Or not use the bag in the vlog style way, but make the video in this vlog style way, and kind of started this new style of making my personal review videos. And not only it was very enjoyable to make the video, but during that process, I really noticed how much I liked the bag. It has so many compartments that to some degree, it looks a little bit like those I'm not sure how to describe it, but I remember one of the people at the office that I was working at that time said it looked a little bit like those Tumi or Remova travel backpacks that some of our dads or boomer used. It feels a little weird to say it that way, but yeah, I do understand what they were saying, because as I said, it looks like the Tumi backpack that Casey Neistat uses or used in his daily vlogs. And I also thought back then, oh, that's a typical Remova Tumi backpack with all of those pockets and stuff like that. But once you kind of get this acquired taste for this bag, you kind of notice how cool it actually does look with this Mandarin style. I'm not sure how it is called exactly. It is something Mandarin ... fabric or whatever. You kind of notice and realize how cool the bag actually does look. And all of those pockets on the outside are, for the lack of a better word, so much fun, because you can very specifically put your items in all of those external pockets, like my extended EDC that I back then stored in the Pioneer-Carry global pouch fits perfectly in that one slot. Then you can put your boo-boo kit in the other slot. I was actually able to fit a bottle in the one side pocket, then my motorcycle gloves in the other, and it was a very fun and enjoyable way to use the bag with all of those external pockets, and the main compartment being very easy to utilize and to use. And yeah, I did enjoy using that bag a lot, and it was actually really surprising to me because, as I said, it reminded me of this Tumi bag, and honestly, I don't like the look of that bag. I just saw it in Casey Neistat's videos, and I was always wanting to, kind of try that bag out. And then when I saw the EDC Panda Pack, I was like, oh, this looks similar. So yeah, it reminds me of that. And I tried to use it in that way, tried to make the video in a more vlog style way. And I was really enjoying the process of A, making the video, and B, using the bag. The only downside is me personally, I would never use this for traveling because all of those external compartments only have a one-sided zipper pull, so you are not able to kind of lock them. And if you are traveling with that, or if you are in a crowded area, there is a high potential, or the risk, not potential, the risk of someone just opening one zipper up, grabbing whatever is inside. So it is very, is that the right word? Susceptible, or it is very attractive. I don't know what the right word is. It is very attractive for someone to pickpocket you when it's on your back and then when you are not kind of aware of the situation. And not being able to lock all of the zippers to some capacity would make me feel very hesitant to use it as a travel backpack or in a very crowded area. So for me, this is the perfect, or not the perfect, this is a very, very enjoyable and great backpack for everyday carry. It is very well made. It is very enjoyable to use. To be fair, it is not the coolest or the best looking backpack. It might look a little bit overloaded with all of the external compartments. I do understand that. It is not lockable. Still, just like the Fold 5, the way you interact with this bag, the way you use it, the way you kind of load it, unload it, get to your stuff, it is a lot of fun. It is very enjoyable to use. It is comfortable to carry. You can fit a lot of items inside. Yeah, I like that bag a lot. So that is why for me, this has been the best everyday carry bag in 2024. So the next item in this list is the best EDC item. If we're already speaking of everyday carry bags, let's talk about the best EDC item. For me, the best EDC item of this year has been the Rubin X2 Pro. This flashlight has been such a joy to use, and I think that is the common denominator of this whole video. Everything on this list is purely based on how much joy that specific item brought to me. All of these items have their flaws. For example, the Fold 5 might be not the most durable. It is fairly expensive, but it was such a joy. The Bellroy Travel Light Backpack might be a little bit bland, but it was really good to use during my travels to Thailand. The EDC Panda Pack, probably not the prettiest, but it was a lot of fun to use. Same holds true with the X2 Pro. This flashlight is the most, besides my phone and maybe a couple of other items like my headphones or earbuds, that flashlight has been the most used piece of equipment, everyday carry items in my kit on my body, not in my pants pockets, but in my jacket, because it is winter. Sorry if you see some cuts in between here. My internet is really spotty. Sometimes it just disconnects, so I had to restart the recording. So I was just about to say, my wife and I, we split up the dog round. So she has the morning and the lunch round, and I walk the dog at night, and one last round at when it's before we go to bed, so it's really late at night. So I have the rounds where it is really dark outside because we have winter at the moment. That is why I always use a flashlight. We always obviously pick up whatever Woody is, when Woody is doing his business. I always pick that up. But we have a bunch of assholes here in this city and around where I live who do not pick up the mess, the poo of their dogs. So it is really important to see where you're walking, and that is why I always have a flashlight and I always light the ground to see where I'm walking. And obviously when Woody is doing his business, in between some leaves, for example, you need a flashlight to kind of see where it lands. And some of you will argue, or I have seen that argument quite often, you have a phone, why don't you use your flashlight on the phone? A, this flashlight isn't that bright. B, do you really want to risk your phone falling on the ground, or that would be terrible, into the poo of your dog? Because on one hand you have the leash, right? And on the other hand you have the doggy bag trying to pick that up. So where do you want to put your phone? Maybe you hold the leash and your phone, but that is very risky. You could kind of drop your phone. So I rather have a flashlight made out of metal that I can easily wipe off, that I don't mind to fall on the ground. I don't mind to get a little bit dirty because I don't put that flashlight on my face. If I call someone, I put it on my face, right? So I don't want, even if I would disinfect it and stuff like that, I don't want my phone in some dog poo. So that is why I always have a flashlight with me. What's so special about the X2 Pro, besides all of the other flashlights that I have? It has multiple modes. On one hand, it has the regular modes that is on the front of the flashlight. It has overall 4 LEDs, 2 that gives you like a wider beam to illuminate a wider area, but it's not that far. Then you can twist a little knob that toggles slowly between the 2 LEDs that have a brighter spread of light. Then it adds a third one, giving you a wider spread, but a small beam in the middle. And then it goes to the last LED, which gives you a very concentrated beam that kind of illuminates farther away and has a concentrated beam. So that is really good. So a wider beam when you're just walking and you want to see a little bit more of the area, then you can kind of concentrate it if you want to see further away, or if you really need some concentrated light on that area with leaves and you kind of want to find the dog poo on in between all of those leaves. So that is really cool. But you have a toggle switch that not only kind of prevents the light from accidentally being switched on in your pocket, but more importantly, you can switch on a second mode to illuminate or to activate the secondary LED that is on the side in a 90-degree angle to the little, how you call it, the little clamp. So you could put that clamp onto your sling bag, use that LED that is in a 90-degree angle, and then illuminate the ground to give you a hands-free experience while the flashlight is on your jacket, for example, and then you light in one direction where you're walking and not kind of just light the LEDs into your face. That is incredible. There are 2 versions of that light, because the version that I have, you can also switch the 90-degree LED to a colored light, making it an RGB light. So you could use it as a taillight on your bicycle by turning it to red, but you could also switch it to red, green, blue, turquoise, pink, and stuff like that. So for example, I could also just put it on the harness of Woody, switch it to a green light, for example, to make him more visible. I like that a lot. So that is why, well, that is one of the reasons why I like this light a lot, for using it every single day when I'm out with my dog. You also have 2 AA shaped lithium batteries inside. So not only are you able to only utilize the light with one of those 2 lithium batteries. But if you are in a pinch, for example, you are traveling in a rural area and you just don't have a USB-C charger available, or you don't have spare batteries with you that are lithium, you can actually just buy one AAA battery, put that inside, and use the lamp, which makes this a very good travel flashlight. So yeah, I really like this Woobin X2 Pro a lot. There is also a version that instead of the RGB light has a UV light. So if you want to kind of utilize it for your inner detective work or your CSI work, you can use the UV light. I'm not really sure what all you can kind of expose with that. I know you can kind of make some liquids visible with UV light, but I only know that from movies. I'm not sure if that actually works. So yeah, UV light, a good option if you want to be a detective, or I don't know, if you are an Airbnb and if that actually works to make liquids or stains visible with that. I leave it up to your imagination what kind of liquids I mean. So if you are curious, in air quotes, and want to check out the bedspread on your Airbnb, having UV light might be a good idea. Not sure if that actually works. And yeah, just keep that in mind. That is available as well. So Woobin X2 Pro flashlight is my favorite everyday carry item of 2024. Now, continuing with everyday carry, best everyday carry sling bag of 2024. And this also surprised me, just because I, in the beginning, did not anticipate to like this bag as much. But when I used it, I was very surprised how much I liked using it. And this podcast episode is supposed to be called the most enjoyable items of 2024. Maybe that's a better title than best items, not sure yet. But that sling bag was the Alpaca Flight Sling. And why did I not anticipate this bag to be that enjoyable? And more importantly, I did not anticipate it to be in this list. First and foremost, while the green X-Pack fabric that I had, or it wasn't X-Pack, it was like this hexagonal ripstop fabric that looks really good, by the way. Although it has this really cool fabric and this really cool color, it did look a little bit, or it does look a little bit like a man purse due to its squarish. I mean, most bags are squarish and rectangular, but it kind of looked like a purse due to its shape, due to its form factor. And I kind of thought, okay, because it has a very high vertical form factor, I thought, okay, everything will just fall down to bottom, accumulate there, and kind of bulk up, making the bag a little bit pear-shaped. So like the fruit, P-E-A-R, is that the right pronunciation? Pear-shaped. And yeah, not be as practical. However, because this bag is named the Flight Sling, it is intended for use as a personal item on a plane. Or not intended, but it is kind of advertised to be very good at that. And I can kind of, attest to that. I didn't use it as a personal item, but the way I used it every single day with all of the items inside. So I had my Fold 5 in there. I had my DJI Pocket 3 in there. I have my double oak wallet, my Orbit Key Pro, a flashlight. Back then I did not have the Wubin X2 Pro yet, so I used the Wubin X1, if I'm not completely mistaken, or the X0, one of those two Wubin lights. By the way, the Wubin lights are amazing, actually. Now that I think of it, I have been using those a lot. I do like my Nightcore T4K also, but I don't know, the feel in the hand of the Wubin lights is really cool and makes them also, there is a lot correlation of how something feels in your hand to how much I personally enjoy that item. And those Wubin flashlights feel amazing in your hand, so I like to use them a lot. So yeah, flashlight, maybe a pack of tissues. What else did I pack? Doggy bag, fresh doggy bags, of course. Yeah, I think that was about it. All of that fit in there quite well. And more importantly, I was able to really organize and position all of the items inside very well without the bag bulking up. And due to the form factor, Alpaca was able to, did I say able carry flight sling? I hope I didn't say it wrong. I obviously mean Alpaca flight sling. The Alpaca flight sling, Alpaca was able to kind of make the bag with this form factor to feel or being perceived very slim on your body. So with all of those items, I anticipated the bag to bulk up, but it did not bulk up. It kind of shaped itself very comfortably to my body, making it appear, or making it, for me, be perceived as non-existent. It was kind of shaping itself with all of those items inside to my body. And even if what I really dislike with all sling bags, and this happens to all sling bags, when you walk with your dog especially, and you have your leash on the same like line of the sling bag, and with the weight of all of the items inside, the sling bags that I usually test and wear kind of wiggle and force their way slowly underneath my armpits. And depending on how bulky they are, how full they are, how heavy they are, it will be very apparent, very noticeable on your arm when it's underneath your armpit, when it's slid down underneath your armpits. And with the Alpaca flight sling, I didn't notice that. And that made the bag very enjoyable to use, because I was able to carry all of those items without noticing the bag. Obviously, I noticed it, but not to a degree with other sling bags. And that made this flight sling very, very enjoyable to use, especially because I carry so much. The Fold 5 is a very thick boy. The DJI Pocket with this small little tripod attachment is a lot of stuff. It bulks up, and being able to carry those items around without noticing the sling bag is very enjoyable, and therefore it is my favorite sling bag of this year. And more importantly, it's also very well made. Alpaca makes very well made bags, very well made items. And it does look, the green and the hexagonal ripstop fabric looks amazing. Yes, due to its shape, it does look like a man purse, or in short, MERS. But I don't care. Personally, I don't care about anyone like saying, oh, that's a man purse, it looks like a man purse. I don't mind that. And honestly, I think 2024, no one should mind that. If people are kind of, criticizing you for that, don't mind that. If you think it looks like a man purse and you don't want to wear it because of that, totally fair. I respect that as well. That is probably the only downside that I can think about of this bag. Other than that, great bag. Love it. that were all of the best items. And now to my honorable mention, or best, not sure, best spare time item, which is my retro gaming devices. Just like the other items, and I just mentioned this about the flashlights, when something feels great in your hand, it is much more enjoyable to use. And therefore, I love my retro gaming devices. More importantly, the Anbernic RG35XX Plus, which looks like a Game Boy. Now, you can argue, and nowadays it is fairly common that people will play games on their phone. While the phone is much more powerful, playing without buttons on your display, it's not enjoyable to me. I'm a huge Diablo fan, for example, and I was always kind of attracted to this Diablo. I think it's called Immortal. On the phone, I was always considering playing it, but I just don't like playing games on a touch screen. It just isn't fun for me. So I rather play retro games on a gaming device with physical buttons. This here is the Anbernic RG40XX-V. Yeah, this is also a cool gaming device, but it's fairly big. You have a bigger display, so it's not as pocketable as the RG35XX Plus. So I like this, but I don't like it as much as the other one, because the other one I can also carry around wherever I'm going and play retro games. For example, I like to play Pokemon Fire Red at the moment and Tetris. I really enjoy if I have to wait, or if I want to prevent myself from doom scrolling on Instagram, I switch on that gaming device, play a little bit of Tetris, and having physical buttons and a physical D-pad makes playing those games so much more enjoyable. And I am a filthy casual gamer. I like gaming, but A, I just don't have the time. B, I don't have the skills. And yeah, I just like to be able to just quickly switch on the game, play a little bit, and switch off. For example, I played Witcher 3. I played Diablo 4. I played Harry Potter. And the only game that I was able to finish was Hogwarts Legacy. That is the only game I was able to finish on my Xbox within the last 24 months, because I just don't have the time. And when I start a game, and then, for example, I get into a project, I don't open up that game for maybe 2 months. And with the example of Witcher 3, I'm just not able to get back into the game. I don't know where I left off. I don't know the quests. I don't know the controls. So it's really annoying for me. Although I want to, I don't have the time to switch on my Xbox and play those games. So having a small little retro gaming device with me all of the time to kind of fill up those small 10 minutes where I have a little bit of time, that is amazing to me, just to play a little bit. And I like that a lot. And the older you get, the more responsibilities you have, the less likely it is that you can carve out 1 or 2 hours. For example, I had so many times where I thought, oh, okay, I have 1 hour just to play a little bit of Diablo 4. I love Diablo. For example, Diablo 3, I bought that 3 times on my Mac, on my PlayStation, on my Switch. Oh, I bought it 4 times on my PlayStation 3, and then I think I bought it on Xbox as well. So at least 3 times, but maybe also 4 times. I love that game. I played it through multiple times. So not being able to finish Diablo 4 is really bugging me. But to continue that story, I thought, oh, I have 1 hour to quickly play a little bit Diablo. So I switched it on. I had to download an update. It took forever. So I was left with half an hour to play. I switched it on and I was like, what was I supposed to do now? And what's this quest that I started? So that is really annoying to me. And the reason why I probably just rather play on my retro gaming device, or if that game whenever gets on to Nintendo Switch, although the quality might not be as good, being able to just quickly switch it on the go, probably for me might be the go to finish Diablo 4. So going back to the retro gaming device, having a gaming device in a small form factor with physical buttons always on me to play retro games that don't require much of story to keep up with is something that keeps me entertained and, more importantly, keeps me away from doom scrolling. And yeah, that is why I have the retro gaming device as one of my favorite items in 2024. All right, that was my very long list about not retro gaming device. What am I talking about? That was my very long list of best items in 2024. Yeah, what do you think about these items? Do you agree? Are any of those items not necessarily some items that you would put on your list? Yeah, and more importantly, what's your favorite item of 2024? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening. I wish you all of the best for 2025. As I said, I record this on the 27th of December, but you will listen to this on the 1st of January 2025. So I hope all of you are very well, healthy, and I wish you all of the best. I see you in the next episode of the Ismono podcast and hopefully in the next video on my channel. Thank you very much.